go for one more lap. Is that all right? I'm trying to think of negatives, but I can't. Like I'm having too much fun. Welcome to Autoblog's Translogic. I'm Jonathon Buckley. Over the last few years, there's been an emerging segment known as the Autocycle. It's part car, part motorcycle, and various companies have found different ways at approaching this platform. But the one we found for you today has taken a more stylish slant. It's known as the Vanderhall Venice. And fortunately for us, we get to put it through its paces in one of the best driving locations in Southern California, the canyons of Malibu. So, let's take it for a spin. So I'm with Dan Boyer from Vanderhall to take a better look at the Venice. You've been making some waves recently, people paying a lot of attention to you guys.
We hope so. I mean, it's definitely a passion that we've been working for a long time, and the product speaks for itself.
And the way people react to it in public, it gets so much attention for a car that costs, you know, under $30,000.
Yeah.
Now, I've already made one mistake because I called it a car, but it's not, is it?
So Autocycle is what the term is probably going to slide into over the next few years. About 28 states have Autocycle provisions.
Yep.
The other states, it's considered a motorcycle. Hopefully, in the next few years, we'll have all the states in line with an Autocycle provision. It's going to take some time.
Does that mean that we need to have a motorcycle license to drive it?
Again, that goes back to the states.
Okay, and I'm guessing the same answer is this for helmets as well.
For helmets as well.
Yeah.
We interpret the law as it being enclosed,
yep,
which would mean you don't need a helmet. But you're on your own at the DMV or with a judge. We're not going to pay that ticket for you.
Well, when I got the call to say that we were going to be testing out the Vanderhall Venice in Southern California, I figured the best place to take it would be one of the most iconic roads, if not the most iconic road in Southern California, the Snake up here on Mulholland Highway. I'm a bit of a veteran up here at the Snake. This is kind of my local playground when I come up here with my motorcycle, so I'm super excited. I've never been through in a car, and I've never been through it in an autocycle before. What do you say we go driving?
Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. Now, a Vanderhall Venice is a three-wheeled little beast that only weighs 1,375 pounds, which is not very much at all, considering that I've got a 1.4-litre turbocharged Chevy Cruze engine. The turbocharger's got this blow-off valve, and it's constantly hissing. And it's so low to the ground that I could literally reach over the side here and just drag my knuckles if I wanted to. And we're looking at a 0 to 60 time somewhere in the 4-second range?
Correct. Yeah, and then 60 to 0 in less than 100 feet, so we are close to supercar range on our brake.
This model comes in at $29,995, which is actually pretty good for a vehicle in this segment. The one I've got's optioned out to about $31,600. That extra $1,500's given me some pretty sweet stainless steel foot plates. And one thing that I think is an absolute must, this bump shifter on the left-hand side. It's like a sequential shifter or a paddle shifter that you would normally have. It just adds a whole other level of excitement. And through this tight and twisty canyon, wow. I don't know that there's much more fun that you could have on three wheels. The interior, I'm a massive fan of, particularly the wooden steering wheel, which feels amazing. But you've kept it really simple. You haven't added like a ton of craziness in there. It's pretty clean.
We were going for something that was timeless. By keeping it a very clean and simple, we're able to keep something that is kind of out of time.
Yep. Tell us a little bit about Vanderhall. Where did it come from?
So Steve Hall, the founder of Vanderhall, comes from a long line of inventors.
Yep.
His grandpa was the individual that invented the process for synthetic diamonds. Oil and gas really wasn't his forte,
yep,
which is really where most of the synthetic diamonds are used. And he got into an exotic car company and did that for a number of years. As an individual of pretty significant stature, 6'6", he doesn't fit in a lot of those vehicles.
Right.
So he decided he was going to start tinkering on his own. Initially, it was more of a personal thing.
Yep.
But after a few years, a number of people said, I think you've got something you can bring to market.
Building cars is a very tricky business to be in. There's safety testings, there's all kinds of regulations to get through. Is it easier to build something like an Autocycle?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't have to do crash test ratings. You don't have to do 5-mile bumpers. You don't have to do any of that stuff. And there's a lot of hoops to jump through, but it's considerably less difficult for a boutique manufacturer to build a motorcycle than it is to build an automobile.
Just sprightly, if I could describe it in a word. So sprightly, just tearing through these corners. It feels tight, it's not overly jittery, the suspension works, it's super direct with the steering, really, really light. It hasn't given me any scary moments yet, and I've kind of been hustling through these canyons. Not dangerously so, but, you know, having a bit of fun. Now, three-wheel vehicles, people have come up with various solutions. The worst being, I think, single in the front and two in the back. It's just notoriously unstable. I don't know if you've ever ridden a trike as a child.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So you've gone with 2 wheels in the front, 1 in the back, but you're sending the power through the front wheels.
Yes, so we did about 7 years of practicing with different configurations. We played with rear-wheel drive, we played with mid-engine. We found the most dynamic control and stability was with front engine, front wheel drive.
Yep.
Eliminated so many of the issues that are still plaguing other companies. We don't have stability control on the Venice because the vehicle is inherently stable.
What are some of those problems that maybe the people that are sending power to the rear wheels are encountering?
If you're going hot into a corner and you put on the gas, you're going to swing out. You're going to lose your traction. However, with front-wheel drive, you're going to pull through.
Okay.
Some of the other issues is in S-turns and weight transfer, you can actually get unstable because you're pulling the weight off the front and putting it back to the pivot point, which can create instability.
It's a pretty heavy bias towards the front, isn't it, in the Venice? 70-30?
70-30.
So how does that help you with your handling through the S's?
We, in essence, engineer the rear tire out of the equation. So if you're going on a turn that's off camber, you don't have an axle or even an independent suspension that's going with you. You've actually got a pivot point to get through it, so you can get through it faster.
When you come in hard under the brakes, because there's no weight in the back, it does get a little bit loose, a little bit squirrely, but it's nothing untoward. If you've done a bit of fast driving in the past, it's not going to be something that really gets you unsettled.
The vehicle's pretty effortless to drive and pretty forgiving. There's always going to be a limit with the vehicle. You know, somebody who's going to drive it hard is going to want to go find where that limit is when they're driving it. But yeah, for most individuals, that limit is out there. I can't stop smiling. There's so much about this car that I like, and I'm not just saying that. I worry that I praise vehicles too much because I'm just having too much fun and I'm ignoring their flaws, but there's so many good things that this car does. Just being outside in Southern California on a day like today, on this road, in this three-wheeler, is an absolute treat. Well, I've got plenty of sun and I'm a little bit grimy, but that's exactly what I was hoping for from a day blasting through the canyons in an Autocycle. The Vanderhall Venice has taken this segment and added a stylish flair to it. And while it may not be ideal for a daily driver, if you're looking for something that's zippy, exciting, and is guaranteed to turn heads, then the Vanderhall Venice could very well be the next addition to your garage. For Autoblog's Translogic, I'm Jonathon Buckley. Catch you next time.